and her portfolio outperformed every single large hedge fund in that same year and even more than doubled the returns of Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway.
So what do? They stop all the primaries. They don't have real primaries anymore. They haven't had a real primary since 2012.
Yeah.
They rig them. They rig it with Bernie Sanders. They rig it with RFK Jr. They're just, the whole business is gross.
White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt is fast making a name for herself, bringing to the fore the fissures within the Biden administration. During a dramatic exchange with the press corps, Leavitt made a bombshell revelation of how Washington insiders have been gaming the system for years. The room fell silent. For years, there have been whispers about questionable stock moves from political leaders, but no one was ready for the scale Karoline highlighted. This wasn't just about loopholes, it was about how the rules were shaped to benefit a select few. And yes, I've got every fiery clip queued up. So, hit that subscribe button because you're not going to want to miss this. Let's jump in.
If you talked with the president about his position on the stock trading ban bill before Congress, he obviously had pretty loaded comments about Senator Hawley. There's some reporting that they've since spoken. What is his position on that?
The media circus began when some reporters believed they had Karoline Leavitt trapped. They referenced Senator Josh Hawley's Honest Act, a piece of legislation to prohibit insider trading on the part of elected politicians, and hoped to stage a confrontation between Karoline and Trump. After all, only a few days prior, Trump and Hawley had gotten into it publicly, with Trump calling him out for going off message among the MAGA base. The media caught the scent of scandal, anticipating that Karoline would slip up. Wrong assumption. She didn't blink. With serene certitude and biting accuracy, she set it straight that whereas other people engage in political intrigues, she had come to discuss concrete solutions. The journalists craved fireworks, but Karoline provided a masterclass instead.
The president has spoken to Senator Hawley, who called him, and the president took that call. As the president said in the Roosevelt Room yesterday, conceptually, he of course supports the idea of ensuring that members of Congress and United States senators who are here for public service cannot enrich themselves.
That's the sort of problem that merits front-page headlines. Consider the benefit to a person who has access to confidential information behind closed doors in Congress. The average stock may increase 7% to 10% per year for ordinary Americans. But certain portfolios in Washington have increased it well above the market average, 70% in her case. That's not common investing. That is a serious question. Karoline Leavitt simply labeled it what it is, troubling and unfair. Ordinary Americans work hard, save, and dream of modest returns, while political elites seem to work by a different set of rules. Karoline is not going to let this situation pass. She's keeping the focus firmly where it should be.
The reason that this idea to put a ban on stock trading for members of Congress is even a thing is because of Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she is rightfully criticized because she makes, I think, $174,000 a year, yet she has a net worth of approximately $413 million. In 2024, Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio, this was a fascinating statistic to me, grew 70% in 1 year.
In the meantime, there are politicians who sermonize about fairness and equity from lofty perches but gain personally from the same wealth they inveigh against. They don't hate riches, it's that they want power over it. Time and again, social justice messaging has been used as a shield while personal fortunes quietly grow in the background. As Speaker of the House, Pelosi's salary already funded a comfortable lifestyle. But apparently, that wasn't enough. The temptation to use influence for more was too strong. And that's the larger point Karoline is making. It's not about public service anymore for some leaders. It's about serving their own portfolios.
And her portfolio outperformed every single large hedge fund in that same year and even more than doubled the returns of Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway.
The entire point of the Honest Act is straightforward. Prevent politicians, Democrats and Republicans, using public office as a piggy bank. They took an oath to work for the American people, not for Wall Street. But time and time again, public service is used as a ticket to fortune. Enough is enough. This bill makes one thing explicit: holding office must not mean holding an unjustifiable economic advantage. In all honesty, it's one of the most intelligent pieces of legislation in a long time. If it gets passed and implemented, it might finally stem the alarming tide of combining politics and personal enrichment. Public service is not meant to be a hustle, it is meant to be a responsibility.
So I think the president stands with the American people on this. He doesn't want to see people like Nancy Pelosi enriching themselves off of public service and ripping off their constituents in the process. As for the mechanics of the legislation and how it will move forward, the White House continues to be in discussions with our friends on Capitol Hill.
Joe Rogan was spot on when he pointed out that if not for Trump being in politics, a great deal of Washington's dubious activity would never have been exposed. And he is correct. Love Trump or hate him, the man pulled back the veil over the establishment and put them under scrutiny. He broke the stranglehold on the political narrative. Americans were suddenly demanding tough questions. Rogan was on the verge of getting into specifics, but the larger narrative was already established. Trump didn't merely shift the dialogue. He held people accountable. Love him or despise him, he brought a lot out into the open, and the public is all the better for it.
The whole system is so corrupted. Ooh. And it's so obvious, we're at a stage where, we have enough information to see, that how much greed and money just corrupts the system.
But I don't think we really got to see it until Trump ran. I think you got to see it unveiled in a way when Trump ran that you never got to see before.
That's the Trump effect in all its glory. Trump didn't merely make the mainstream media uncomfortable, he circumvented it altogether. Rather than depending on networks with close connections to political insiders, he went directly to independent media and podcasters who allowed him to say what he wanted. He knew the game. Legacy media wasn't merely breaking news, it was frequently making it. In the background, access and exclusives were attendant with strings attached. Trump opened that up big by bypassing the middlemen. He made it more difficult for everyone to hide things in the shadows. That's why he posed such a threat to the establishment, because he deprived them of control of the message.
I think you got to see it unveiled in a way when Trump ran that you never got to see before. Because also you got the rise of independent journalism that happens at the same time.
Yeah.
So you have people that report just on the facts, not like this CNN lean or the Fox News lean, but just reports on exactly what's happening and how it happened.
And that's why so many in the media attacked Trump. He wouldn't play by Washington's insider rules. No backroom deals, no groveling to old power brokers, no fitting into the old machine. For that, he became public enemy number one. With the media and political elites allied, the assaults came quickly: business arrangements, private life, even his appearances on TV. All was fair game if it could be turned into a scandal. The aim was straightforward: hurt his reputation and close off his road to power. But here's the catch: the more they attacked, the more folks noticed the chink in the armor. Rather than being buried, Trump became a political force to be reckoned with.
If you're paying attention and you follow those people, and a lot more people are than ever before, you get a way different understanding of how gross this game is.
Yeah.
And because the guy was so polarizing, and because he was such an easy guy to turn into a you pointed to him, you're like, this is him. Look at the way he talks.
Yeah.
He's going to ruin the world. It's a threat to democracy.
And here's the irony: Democrats are always perched on their soapboxes railing about democracy, justice, and moral leadership. But their own behavior sometimes tells a different story. For instance, the Democratic Party has not had a genuinely competitive primary since 2012. Let that sink in. A party called the Democrats hasn't always allowed voters to choose their nominee freely. Rather, leadership usually intervenes to steer the process. If Republicans attempted the same, it would be wall-to-wall headlines. But when Democrats do it, it makes little splash. That hypocrisy infuriates ordinary Americans who desire equity in the system. And when Trump pointed it out, he was deemed a danger. What he actually did was just refuse to play a rigged game.